Starseed from Gaia, I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation. A direct transmission from the Arcturian Council reveals an urgent truth. Your daughter carries a frequency unforeseen by certain forces, and they have noticed. This is not fear. This is vital information. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand precisely what energetic signatures are being directed at your daughter's field, why she has been feeling it without conscious awareness, and what you can activate right now to anchor and shield her timeline. But here's the first revelation. This intensified focus is not a threat to fear, but a powerful confirmation of the doubled mission of a second-generation starseed. You didn't scroll to this by mistake. This isn't just content. It's a direct energetic download vibrating into your field for a reason. Your soul called this in. A deep part of you has been waiting to remember this activation. When a second-generation starseed like your daughter enters the timeline, the interference intensifies, not to hinder, but because the mission itself has doubled in its cosmic significance. This isn't just a message. It's a crucial point of reconnection for your star family. Your soul's been waiting for this alignment. If you feel this resonance, like this transmission to signal to your star family, I'm ready. Subscribe if your mission is activating and you're aligning with your true frequency. Comment 999 below if you feel your cosmic remembrance returning, and reply to someone else's intention to amplify this powerful signal. She didn't come through you by accident. She came through you as part of the mission. You are not here by accident. Some transmissions don't come through words but through frequency. If something stirred within you just now, you may be ready to receive the hidden Arcturian keys of awakening. This short yet powerful ebook carries ancient Arcturian techniques for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now let's go deeper into what this actually means, because what's happening with your daughter is not random, and it's not small. Nothing about this moment is accidental. The very fact that you found yourself here, drawn to this transmission, feeling the quiet pull of recognition in your chest that is already information. That is your field responding before your mind could catch up. What you are about to receive is not simply content, it is a mirror, and what it reflects back to you may be something you have known for a very long time but never had language for until now. There is something that happens in a lineage when a starseed chooses to birth another soul through their physical vessel. It is not simply the biological act of creation. It is a deliberate galactic transmission, a relay. Think of it the way a crystal holds and amplifies light. Your frequency, your codes, your unfinished vibrational work, all of it was downloaded into a new container, but not stored there, activated there, awakened in an entirely new configuration that carries the memory of your signal and the capacity to take it somewhere you could not reach alone. And that container came in amplified. She didn't arrive as a copy. She arrived as an upgrade. This is a truth that the ordinary world has no framework for, and yet your body already knew it the first time you looked into her eyes and felt something far older than the moment looking back at you. That recognition was not imagination. It was cellular. It was galactic. It was the relay completing its first transmission. You didn't just meet a child. You met the continuation of a mission that spans dimensions and timelines. A mission that your soul signed up for long before this particular body, this particular life, this particular moment of sitting somewhere watching a screen and feeling the weight of something sacred pressing through the ordinary. But here is what most starseed parents were never told. When a second-generation starseed enters this timeline, the energetic field around that child becomes a target. Not in the way that word frightens you, but in the way that a signal tower attracts interference. The stronger the broadcast, the more the surrounding noise tries to compete with it. A lighthouse doesn't attract darkness because it is weak. It attracts it because it is visible. Because the light it emits is powerful enough to be noticed across distances that ordinary eyes cannot perceive. Your daughter is that lighthouse, and the interference she has encountered in whatever form it has taken in her particular life is not evidence of her fragility. It is evidence of her signal strength. Think about what she's been experiencing. Sensitivity that others dismiss with well-meaning words like, "she's too emotional," or "she needs to toughen up." Words that carry no cruelty in intention, but cause fractures in a field that was never bad, meant to harden itself against feeling. emotional heaviness that has no clear source, that arrives like weather she didn't see coming, that settles into her body before she has the tools to move it through. A tendency to absorb what's in a room before she can understand why she feels different when she leaves it, walking into a crowded space feeling like herself, and walking out carrying the unspoken grief of 12 strangers as though it were her own. Dreams that feel less like dreams and more like visits. Landscapes that are too vivid, too purposeful, too precisely structured to be random neurological noise. Conversations in those landscapes that leave her changed in ways she cannot explain over breakfast. A knowing in her body that something larger is happening, even when the world around her gives her no language for it, even when every system she has been placed inside insists that what she senses is not real, not reliable, not worth trusting. That is not disorder. That is not pathology dressed up in spiritual language. That is her field waking up inside a reality that was not designed to hold her frequency without resistance. The friction she feels is not proof that something is wrong with her. It is proof that she is operating at a frequency that the dominant structures around her have not yet learned to accommodate. And that distinction between wrongness and wrongness of fit is one of the most important truths you can carry into your relationship with her. And here is where the understanding becomes critical for you as her parent, as her anchor, as the one who transmitted the original signal, because you are not simply an observer of what she is moving through, you are energetically woven into it. The codes you carried, the unresolved frequencies in your own field, the places in your own awakening where the light broke through and the places where it is still finding its way, all of that is part of the environment she was born into and continues to navigate. You are not separate from her journey. You are one of its most fundamental conditions. Most of the distortion directed at second-generation starseeds doesn't come in visible forms. It doesn't arrive wearing a face you can see or speaking words you can dispute. It comes through the invisible, through frequency environments that flatten the emotional body over time, the way a constant low hum eventually becomes silence to the ear that is no longer listening because it learned to stop. It comes through collective consciousness loops that train sensitive children, methodically and persistently, to doubt what they feel, to question the accuracy of their own perception, to believe that the inner knowing, that quiet certainty that has been with them since before words, is the least reliable thing about them. It comes through social and educational systems that reward the suppression of inner knowing and punish the kind of awareness she was born, carrying systems that give gold stars to the children who perform certainty and compliance, and send the children who ask the unanswerable questions home with notes about attention and behavior and adjustment. These are not conspiracies. These are structural frequencies. They are embedded in the architecture of the world she was born into. And they are real. Your daughter can feel them. She has always been able to feel them. She may not have the words for them. She may not be able to say, "This classroom suppresses my frequency," or "This social environment is training me to mistrust my inner signal." But she has been living inside that pressure longer than either of you may realize, and it has been shaping her in ways that require more than love to address. Though love is always where it begins, it requires understanding. It requires a parent who is awake enough to see the pressure for what it is, rather than mistaking it for evidence that the child simply needs to adapt better. The soul amnesia that affects starseeds doesn't begin in adulthood. That is a common misunderstanding, the idea that awakening is something that happens later in life, after enough suffering has accumulated to crack the ordinary world open. For second-generation starseeds, the amnesia begins early, often in childhood, often during the precise years when the ego structure is forming and the child is trying to reconcile what they feel with what they're told to feel. That gap, the space between the inner truth that arrived with her and the outer reality that insists on a different version of what is real, becomes the first fracture point. It is the place where the soul's memory begins to retreat behind the veil of adaptation. And if it isn't met with understanding, if no one reaches into that gap with recognition and says, "I see what you are trying to carry, and I know it is real," it deepens. The fracture becomes a canyon. The knowing goes underground, and the child begins the long, painful work of pretending to be smaller than she is in order to survive the environments that cannot hold her. You chose to be the one who understands. You made that choice before this moment. You made it across timelines, in the architecture of your own soul's agreement. And now you are here, which means you are being asked to step into that understanding more fully, more consciously, more deliberately than perhaps you have before. That is why you are here watching this. Not by accident. Not by the algorithm selecting content based on your browsing history. By activation. Because your higher field knew, with the kind of knowing that doesn't require explanation, that she would need you to be prepared before she was old enough to ask you for help. She cannot yet articulate the request, but the request is already being made. At the level of frequency, at the level of the field. She is transmitting a signal toward you right now that says, be ready, be steady, be the one who knows. So, let's talk about what you can actually do. Not in theory, not in the comfortable abstraction of spiritual concepts that sound beautiful but leave you no closer to knowing how to be present with the specific, real, breathing child in your life. In frequency, in practice, in the actual lived experience of your daily field and hers, the first thing you must understand is that your own energy field is the most powerful shielding technology available to your daughter right now. Not crystals, though they have their place. Not rituals, though they carry their own frequency. Not even prayers spoken with the most sincere of intentions, though prayer moves mountains when it comes from a coherent field. It is your field, the living, breathing, vibrating energetic reality of who you are in each moment that is her primary environment. Before you can protect her field, you must stabilize your own. This is not about perfection. It is not about having cleared every trauma, resolved every wound, completed every layer of your own awakening before you are allowed to be useful to her. This is about coherence. The difference between a scattered signal and a clear one. The difference between a lighthouse with a failing bulb and one that burns steady through the storm. When your field is scattered, when you are operating from anxiety that has no specific address, from unresolved timelines that replay themselves in your nervous system as though they are still present danger, from suppressed grief that was never allowed to move through you, from unexpressed mission energy that has been turned inward until it has become a pressure, with no direction, that incoherence becomes part of her environment. It is woven into the air of the home. It is present in the silences between words. It is transmitted in the quality of your attention when you look at her. Children, especially sensitive ones, especially second-generation starseeds, whose field sensitivity was not designed for anything less than precise energetic awareness, entrained to the dominant frequency in their proximity. She is already reading you at a level that has nothing to do with words, at a level that bypasses language entirely and goes straight to the vibrational truth of what you are carrying. Your presence is her first frequency anchor. Before any tool, before any technique, before any conversation about starseeds or missions or multidimensional fields, your presence, your energetic coherence, your willingness to do your own work so that your field becomes a place of steadiness rather than turbulence, that is the shield. That is the technology. That is the most profound gift you can offer her in this specific moment of her unfolding. When you do your own vibrational work, when you return to stillness, not as a spiritual performance but as a genuine practice of coming home to yourself, when you clear what has been suppressed by allowing yourself to feel it fully rather than managing it from a distance, when you consciously choose to align with your higher knowing rather than the fear that has been running the background program, you create a field of coherence around you, and she stabilizes inside it. This is not metaphor. This is not spiritual poetry. This is how energetic fields interact. The coherent field organizes the less coherent one in its proximity, not by force, by resonance, by the simple fact that order is more compelling than chaos when it is genuinely held. You are her lighthouse before she can be her own, and a lighthouse does not apologize for its light. It simply burns. The second thing to understand is that her sensitivity is not a weakness to protect her from. It is a gift to protect alongside her. There is a profound and painful difference between those two orientations, and everything that follows in your relationship with her depends on which one you operate from. Many parents who feel the weight of raising a highly sensitive starseed child begin, in love, to try to reduce the child's exposure to dampen the sensitivity, to teach them to shield by shutting down, to help them build walls that will keep the incoming frequency from overwhelming their system. And that is understandable. The world is loud. The world is heavy with frequencies that were not calibrated for a soul of her particular design. The impulse to protect by reducing exposure comes from love, and it should be met with tenderness rather than judgment. But when you teach a starseed child that their sensitivity is the problem, you teach them to distrust their own signal. You teach them that what they feel is too much, not too much for the world to offer, but too much for them to carry without becoming unsafe to themselves or others. And that teaching, absorbed in childhood when the identity is still forming, becomes a foundational belief that can take decades to dismantle. From that belief comes the long lineage of spiritual seekers who find their way to practices and communities in their 30s or 40s or beyond, only to realize they have spent the majority of their life apologizing for the most extraordinary thing about them. What she needs is not a reduction of her gift. She needs an upgrade in how to carry it, an expansion of her capacity to hold the frequency she was born with, rather than a compression of that frequency into a form that makes others more comfortable. And that upgrade, that expansion, begins with you, with your willingness to be the first person in her life who refuses to pathologize her precision. That upgrade begins with language, with having words for what she already knows, with a parent who sits beside her, not above her, not in front of her with answers, but beside her as a companion in the terrain of the extraordinary and says, "What you feel is real." Not, "I think your feelings are valid." Not, "I understand why you feel that way." But, "What you feel is real. It is accurate. It is information. And you are not alone in feeling it. And I am here, and I understand more than you know." That conversation, whenever it comes, in whatever form is right for her age and her readiness, delivered with the timing that her soul will recognize and receive that conversation, is a frequency activation in itself. It is a transmission that says, "You did not land in the wrong place. You landed in the right one. And the one who opened the portal for you is ready to stand beside you in it." The third thing to anchor into your awareness is this: her timeline has protection that you cannot fully see. This is important because there will be moments, and perhaps there have already been moments, when the evidence in front of you seems to contradict it, when she is struggling in ways that frighten you, when the sensitivity that is her gift seems to have become the very thing that is undoing her, when the pressure of navigating a world that was not built to hold her frequency appears to be winning the argument about whether her particular way of being can survive here. She came in with her own encoded field. She carries coordinates, vibrational, dimensional, mission-specific, that interference cannot permanently override. The pressure she feels is real, and it deserves to be taken seriously. But it is not stronger than what she carries within her. There is a flame in the center of her field that was lit before she arrived here, that was encoded at a level so deep that no amount of external frequency distortion can extinguish it. It can be dimmed. It can be suppressed. It can go quiet for seasons that feel far too long, but it cannot be unmade, because it was placed there by something far larger than the interference. There are moments where it may seem like the weight is winning, where she seems lost in it, or dimmed by it, or pulled toward patterns that do not reflect who she is at soul level, toward numbness, toward smallness, toward the exhausted compliance of a soul that has been told too many times that its brightness is inconvenient. In those moments, do not panic. Do not contract into the fear that you have failed her, that you have missed something, that the window has closed. Do not meet her dimming with your own. Expand. Breathe into your own field with the deliberate intention of expanding rather than contracting. Hold the knowing of who she is above the appearance of what she is moving through. This is not denial. It is not spiritual bypassing. It is the act of a soul that has chosen, consciously and with full awareness of the difficulty, to hold a higher frequency on behalf of another who is temporarily unable to hold it for themselves. Your certainty about her soul's truth held with love and without fear, held in the way a mountain holds its position through every season that passes over. It is one of the most powerful activating forces available to her. It is a transmission she receives even when she appears not to be receiving anything, even when she is turned away. Even when the ordinary friction of relationship makes the sacred bond feel like a wound rather than a bridge, she is still receiving. The field between you is still active, and what you hold in that field matters more than you can see from the inside of it. Now, here is what the Arcturian transmissions reveal about this specific kind of lineage work. When a mission is passed through bloodline, the transmission carries what the first generation did not complete. Not as burden, this must be understood clearly, because the word unfinished can carry the weight of failure if it is heard incorrectly. Not as burden, as continuation. The way a river does not begin and end at a single point but moves through geography, carrying the memory of its source while always becoming something new in the landscape it flows through. She picked up the thread where you left it, but she also came with new coordinates. There are frequencies she will access that you haven't, not because she is more evolved in some hierarchical sense, but because she arrived with a specific configuration calibrated for this particular moment in the planetary frequency shift, a moment that required new tools, new access codes, new angles of approach to the work that has been unfolding through your lineage across multiple incarnations. There are timelines she will stabilize that were beyond the reach of your specific activation. She will go places in consciousness that your particular frequency signature did not have a map for. She will do things in this world that you could not have done, not because you fell short, but because she is carrying a version of the mission that requires a different key. You are not her source. You were her portal. And the distinction matters enormously, not as a diminishment of what you are to her, but as a liberation from a role that was never yours to carry. You did not come here to be her teacher. You came here to be the doorway through which a teacher arrived. Your role now is not to lead her mission. It is to create the conditions in which her mission can emerge. And that is a profound and humbling and utterly sacred task. The trellis does not compete with the rose. It simply holds the structure within which the rose becomes what it was always going to be. You are the trellis. She is the rose. And your willingness to hold steady, to remain rooted, to keep your own frequency coherent, even in the seasons when you cannot see what is growing, that is your mission within her mission. That means your own awakening is not separate from hers. This is where the understanding folds back on itself in a way that is both beautiful and demanding. It is interwoven with hers in the most literal sense of that word. Every layer you clear, every old story you are willing to release, every wound you are willing to witness rather than bypass, every pattern of contraction that you choose to meet with compassion rather than reinforcement, you are clearing the energetic path she walks. You are doing active mission work on her behalf in the moments when you are simply sitting alone with your own inner landscape and choosing to face it honestly. Every pattern you transmute, every moment you choose alignment over fear, you are working with her even when you are not in the same room, even when you don't have the words, even when the connection feels uncertain or strained in the ordinary way that life sometimes strains even the most sacred bonds. There are seasons in every sacred relationship where the connection does not feel sacred, where it feels difficult, confused, ordinary, in the hardest sense of that word, where the daughter in front of you seems like simply a daughter, and the cosmic coordinates of your shared mission seem impossibly distant from the actual human work of navigating a relationship through misunderstanding, through growth, through the inevitable friction of two souls occupying the same proximity and finding that proximity both necessary and challenging. In those seasons, remember this: the field between you is not governed by how it feels in the moments when the connection is strained. It is governed by what you have chosen at the level of soul. And that choice is already made. It was made before either of you arrived here. You are in this together across multiple dimensions. And the fact that you're here receiving this message means the coordination is already active. The fact that something in you said yes before your mind fully processed what was being said, that is the field acknowledging its own truth. That is your soul confirming what it already knows. The coordination is not something you need to initiate. It is already running. You are already in it. What you are being invited to do right now is become more conscious of what is already true. There is one last thing to be said, and this is where the deepest truth lives. This is the layer beneath the layers, the frequency beneath the frequency, the thing that, when it lands, changes the quality of everything that comes after it. She chose you. Not because you were perfect, not because you had everything figured out, your own awakening neatly complete before her arrival, your field pristine and coherent, and entirely free of the wounds that every soul accumulates across the terrain of living. Not because you were the most qualified candidate in some cosmic selection process that reviewed your credentials and found you sufficient. She chose you because your unfinished work, your specific wounds in their specific configuration, your particular frequency signature with all its brilliance and all its unresolved places, gave her exactly the learning field she needed to calibrate her own gifts. Your struggles were not a failure to protect her. They were part of her training, the precise texture of the resistance she needed to develop the strength she came here to carry. And her presence in your life, her questions that go somewhere you weren't prepared for, her sensitivity that reflects the feeling in the room before you were ready to acknowledge it, her mirror-like accuracy at reflecting back everything you haven't yet faced, with a precision that can feel uncomfortable in the moments when it hits closest to truth that is her transmission to you. She is not only your child, she is also your teacher, she is also your activator. The relationship moves in both directions, even when the ordinary roles of parent and child seem to suggest a one-directional flow. You are activating each other. You are in the process of mutual awakening, wrapped in the costume of a family. And the ordinary moments, the meals, the silences, the conversations that seem like they are about nothing important, the nights when you sit in the same house, breathing the same air without speaking. All of it is frequency exchange. All of it is part of the transmission. That is the nature of second-generation Starseed missions. It is not parent and child in the ordinary sense that assigns one role as the giver and the other as the receiver, one as the one who knows and the other as the one who is learning, one as the source and the other as the destination. It is soul and soul, coordinated across timelines with a precision that renders the word coincidence completely inadequate, arriving in proximity to amplify something the universe needed at this exact moment in Earth's frequency shift. A moment that required exactly the two of you, in exactly this configuration, with exactly the specific history you share. You did not make her. You recognized her. You were the vessel through which recognition became physical. And now you are both remembering together slowly, imperfectly, beautifully, the way all genuine remembrance unfolds. Not in a single dramatic moment of revelation, but in the accumulation of small moments where the truth becomes undeniable, where the ordinary parts slightly and something larger looks through. Tonight, if it feels aligned, sit near her even in silence, and simply hold the knowing of who she is. Not the knowing of who she is struggling to be, or who you hope she will become, or who you fear she might not manage to stay. The knowing of who she is at the level of soul, the frequency that arrived before her first breath, the signal that has been broadcasting through everything she does and everything she is, even in the moments when it has seemed obscured. You don't need to speak it. Frequency doesn't require language. Language is a translation. What you are being asked to transmit goes beyond what translation can carry. Just know it. Feel it in the way you feel a truth that lives in the body rather than the mind. Let your energy field say what words cannot. I see you. I know what you carry. You are safe. You are held. And your mission is real. That is the beginning of the shield. That is the beginning of the activation. That is the moment where the relay completes another loop, and the signal between you becomes clearer, more coherent, more deliberately held. And it starts with you. It has always started with you. That is why you are the one who is here receiving this transmission instead of her. Because the work that needs to happen first, the preparation, the stabilization, the conscious choosing to be the one who understands, that is yours. And you are more ready for it than you know. Before you move on from this message, drop one word in the comments, one word that describes what you feel in your heart right now, about your daughter, about your mission, about this moment. Just one word. And then look at what others have written, and let yourself know that you are not alone in this, that there is a field of parents awakening to this truth at the same time you are, that this is not coincidence, this is convergence. If this reached you, share it with someone who is raising a sensitive child and doesn't yet have the language for what they're witnessing. They need this. And if your soul said yes to any part of this transmission, stay close. There is more, and it was always meant for you.